Explain that for people that have never heard the paperclip idea.
That these intelligences involved in machines are literal to a degree we might find difficult to get our brains around. And therefore, someone has said, I'd like you to make as many paperclips as you can.
To an AI, for example.
Yes, a sloppily open-ended, bad definition. But then the machine, which by then has the means to do it, starts to make paperclips. And it keeps on going, and it needs metal. And so it runs out of easily available metal. It starts to collect metal that is not easily available, rips it out of your high-rise building, whatever. What you find is that these 7 each dominated a nice piece of business. They had close to monopolies, and they had it on a global basis. Tesla had a jump start on the electric vehicles, Apple, of course, on the smartphone, Microsoft on the original great coup of how to run your software on a computer. And then you look forward.
Meta social networking, Google search.
Right. Google search.
NVIDIA chips.
And then you look forward, and you could not imagine a more different world. They're all girding for battle in the same marketplace, AI.
Is this idea of bubbles.
Yes, and bubbles always occur around the very most important ideas. So the railroads, everyone could see that it would change the world. The same with the internet, and everyone wanted to put their money in, and so they overinvested. But this is the problem. Eventually, they bust. And if you look at the great bubbles breaking of the past, you find that it's followed by really tough times, a miserable period for the economy. And the bigger the bubble, the bigger the bust. And now we're in the biggest investment bubble that arguably has ever occurred, AI.
Are we on the verge of a collapse with AI over the coming years?
The next few days, the next few weeks, the next few months, but certainly the next few years.
Do you think Bitcoin's going to go to zero?
Yes, it will certainly go to zero. And we can go into that.
Crypto?
No.
Why?
It's an unnecessary piece of nonsense that facilitates nothing except criminals moving money, so they can't be seen. In the distant future, yes, it will certainly go to zero, but it may take a long time. I think it's an unnecessary piece of nonsense. It facilitates nothing except criminals moving money, so they can't be seen. It's not a store of value since it bounces around all over the place, just down from 120 to 60, because it felt like it. So it's not stable. It's volatile as hell. It's not used conveniently as a medium of exchange. You can't go into a shop and use it easily. It does one thing very, very well. It's a means of speculating beautifully.
Do you think Bitcoin's going to go to zero?
Well, now, let me just say, you will not receive the advice from investment advisors to get your tail out of the market, ever. It is not good business for them to do that, and they will not ever say it to you. So from 1929 onwards, the Goldman Sachses of the world have never said to you, get out of the market, it's overpriced. Never. So they went through the crash of 29, they went through the crash of the Nifty 50 in 72, the crash of 2000 in the tech bubble. They never, ever say it because it's bad business.
They have 50 milligrams of all these B vitamins. In fact, if you go to an expensive vitamin store, they put up the doses of Bs.
The question here is like, what should, at different levels, so like the average Joe on the street up to entrepreneurs that are running companies, how do they all prepare for an economic bubble that might burst?
He's such a good example. And what that does, and just following up through on what we were saying a minute ago, is that increases the supply of AI stock.
Okay, yeah, because he sold stock.
Because he's going to sell more.
Yeah.
Right? And so as he and others do that more, this greater supply of stock comes in. And so he wants to get ahead of it in that dynamic. And then, that contributes to the bubble. But how do they prepare?
How does the average person?
I would also say something. The future is very unknown. And people should not be timing. Sophisticated investors have a real challenge even in timing a bubble. So the important thing always is to diversify. Now we're going to go back to money, the basics of money management. And I by the way, I personally have gone through the cycle because I didn't have any money. And then I and I had a lot of money. And I remember the cycle very well. What happens is, as you start off, I used to count how many months I would be okay, a certain amount of money, how much I would be okay if no more money came in. If I lost my job or whatever did, I'd mostly never, I worked 2 years for somebody, but in other words, if money didn't come in, and it would be months and then years and so on to build that security because I had to take care of my family and so on. And so as we're looking at these things, these are the choices that you have in order to be able to say, do I buy my house or apartment? Do I put my money into cash? And what happens to money is you have to put it into something because they'll pay you interest on it, okay? So that's your cash deposit and so on. And people think that that's the safest. It's not. It's the worst investment over a long period of time because inflation will eat it away.
You mean putting it in a bank, just leaving it in a bank?
In whatever form, a money market fund, whatever it is that short term, I'll deposit it and it'll give me an interest rate. Okay. And that's what they think about as cash. Nobody leaves it literally in cash because if it's literally in cash, it doesn't earn interest. So why shouldn't I put it there and get some interest on it? And so that's cash. And people think that that's the safest and has the lowest return, guaranteed almost to have the worst return over the longer period of time.
People keep cash because it feels safer.
That's right. And I'm saying it's not safer because of inflation.
Explain that to me in simple terms.
Okay. Well, if I got no interest rate, then what I would do is I'd lose to the inflation rate.
And what's the inflation rate?
And 3.5% or 4%. It happens to be about where it is now.
A year?
Yeah, a year.
So that I lose $3.5 a year.
That's right.
If I just leave it in cash.
That's right.
Okay.
Now I'll get an interest rate on it if I put it someplace, and it'll give me maybe an interest rate that's somewhere in that vicinity, similar to that.
4%.
And then I have to pay taxes on it.
Oh, you have to pay taxes on the gain.
Okay,
fine.
Right? Even though you really didn't gain relative to inflation, you still have to pay the taxes on whatever you've earned or something. Anyway, over the long term, it's a lousy return. Because also think about returns also come from productivity. And over a period of time, people learn how to do things better and so on. So then you can invest in, let's call this stocks. Okay, we'll call that the stock market. This is cash. And then you think on the stocks. And then the stocks can go up or down. And then they have this dynamic that we're talking about that creates these big cycles and the busts.